Ladies and gentlemen, Joel Robinson.
Well, hello there. Is that good?
Perfect. Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the vlog, welcome to Boom in the Sky. Hope you guys are having a great day. I am out here in Fargo, North Dakota, actually West Fargo, I think. I am at the PGI convention. It is my first time here. I'm actually, I came out to just see what I can see some great fireworks. I got in late last night. I just caught a couple shows. I'm gonna post that footage if you haven't seen it. It was amazing. But anyway, I'm here at the convention. It is Thursday afternoon, I guess, and we're gonna do some interviews. So I've got Joel Robinson from Cobra standing by, and then I'm gonna walk around and interview some other cool people. But anyway, thanks again for coming to the channel. Thanks again for visiting Boom in the Sky. I hope you guys like this. I don't know what I'm gonna ask Joel yet, but he was one of the reasons I actually started my channel. I think one of my stash videos, I'll link that above, but I had actually given him a shout out, and I met him last night at the Afterglow or After Bang or whatever they called it. So really cool guy, but we're gonna interview him and ask him a couple questions, maybe just take you guys through what they have here at the Cobra booth. So anyway, let's get into it. I'm gonna bring Joel on right now. Joel, nice to finally meet you. Thanks for coming to Boom in the Sky. I'm going to step off here, but I'm going to ask you a couple questions, just basically about Cobra and about you and all sorts of great stuff. So I hope you're excited.
Okay, I am.
Okay, Joel Robinson. So Joel, I guess first off, just tell me about yourself, just a little bit about yourself. Give everybody just a quick introduction about yourself.
Okay, so my name's Joel Robinson. I started out posting YouTube videos about fireworks back in 2009. Ended up connecting with Cobra Firing Systems and started working for them in 2013. I've been doing both ever since.
Cool. What brings you into the firework industry? Like, how did you get in it? Were you a fan as a kid? Were you the one that was blowing things up, you know, trying to, I don't know, blow up toilets? Or how did you get into the fireworks industry?
Actually, my mother used to not let me play with fireworks. And it wasn't until I was an early teenager that my stepdad finally told my mom, yeah, let him play with some firecrackers. And it evolved from there and got hooked ever since, lighting my first firecracker.
Okay. And you included a video on one of my previous videos. I'll link that one above, but tell everybody what your favorite effect is, because you don't have a favorite cake, but tell everybody what your favorite effect is.
That is a very difficult question, because I think it really depends on what I'm doing or what you're trying to achieve. Ghost effect is probably one of my favorites, but then again, I also think about the Nishiki effect, as well as just a simple ring effect for like a 900 board. There's a ton of them that come to mind. Those are probably some of the top three that I have.
Okay, and so you guys are here. How many PGI shows have you been to?
This is my 8th.
Your 8th show. That's impressive. This is my first, and it's literally the first hour I've been here.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. So what do you like about PGI?
Well, first off, it's a lot of fun because everyone here is in fireworks, right? We're either working in the industry or you're passionate about the industry. And that could be anything from consumer fireworks to building shells to shooting shows and anything in between. So it's a great group of people that come together all for the purpose of fireworks. And I mean, it's a week long of shooting off fireworks. Who can complain?
I gotcha. And what are you guys showing today from Cobra?
We're showing everything that we offer. So each table has a different purpose. So it might be something such as new products that we have, and some of those tables for new products might be a new firmware release or specifically focused on a new product, which is the table directly behind me where you might see some LEDs going off, which is our DMX firmware. And then we also have just a general intro to Cobra. So if you know nothing about Cobra, we have a table set out so you can learn about it. And then we just have several other various tables that break out different accessories and whatnot.
I gotcha. And when you shoot fireworks, do you every time use firing systems like obviously Cobra, or do you still enjoy hand lighting?
I do both. It really depends on what I'm doing. So if I am trying to record and I don't have someone to help me, I will use the firing system simply because I can be far enough back that I can record and then trigger everything using the firing system. If I have someone to help me, I personally like to hand fire, or if I'm shooting something like a fountain where I can be close enough where I can light the firework and still get it on camera, I will hand fire.
Okay. And how complicated have you gotten in the past couple of years in terms of your fireworks, like your shows?
Oh, I think every year try to do bigger, better show, right? I mean, that's just the nature of it. And yeah, I think I'd hold true to that. Every year it gets a little more complicated, try to do a little something different. And next year, I already got ideas, and it's going to be even better than this year.
Well, give us a tease. What's in store for next year? Just a tease. You don't have to give away everything, but
Well, this year I really want to incorporate our DMX firmware, which would be things such as lighting equipment or flame projectors, or just about anything that could be controlled by DMX. And this year I simply did not have enough time. So I'm hoping next year that's one of the things I can really incorporate into my show just to take it to the next level.
I gotcha. Which products do you usually use on a regular basis? Are you obviously you have the 18R2? Do you have 18Ms? Are you 36Ms? Do you use slats, parallel? What's your setup like?
So this year I literally used everything you just said because I ran out of cues. I didn't have enough equipment on hand to do the show I wanted. So I used 6Ms, 18Ms, 36Ms. I did use some slats. Everything I had in my home office I pulled out and used it in my show.
And how many modules were you using?
It was 14 modules, I believe. 16 channels, yeah.
Wow, that's a lot. I had 4. I guess you do work for Cobra, so that makes it easy.
A little more access to equipment.
So what advice would you give to someone that's just getting into the fireworks industry?
Be safe. Safety is important. I mean, that's probably the number one thing people need to keep in mind. Don't drink and shoot fireworks. Make sure that you don't have your head over a firework when it's, about ready to light it. All those basic safety things is the first thing to keep in mind.
That's good advice. I try to follow the same thing. Every year I have, people always say like, let's have a beer before the show, and I go,
always after.
After the show. Not even one, just so that whatever. So how many fireworks, when you have a show, how many fireworks do you have, and what is the makeup of it? So would you say that you have a lot of cakes, rockets, mortars, single shots, slices, fans? What's general? I mean, obviously every show is different, but do you have a ratio that you try to do?
It's primarily cakes, and then single shots thereafter. Over the years I've used less and less shells, or I push them to the finale, mostly because shell timing can be more difficult than a cake or a single shot, and so when I start to do, fireworks shows to music, pyromusicals, I need that tight timing. So a lot of times I save the shells for the finale. I don't use rockets, mostly because of the unpredictable nature of rockets. We have used fountains, all that kind of. I mean, I've used even small, random one-off novelties even in shows before. So as long as it meets my needs, I'll use it.
That's awesome. I'm actually trying to get more into the single shots. I did see your video from the 4th of July. I'll link that one above, guys, if you haven't seen it, and I'll link it in the description as well. I think I can link it above, but I'll link it in the description below at the very least. So, what's the next step for you in terms of progression in pyrotechnics?
Well, that's actually funny. A lot of people ask, why aren't you shooting 1.3? And mostly because I can still do a lot with 1.4 that I don't see the need to push myself into 1.3, and I do enough 1.3 for display companies. It's not my personal show, but I help out in crew, that I don't have the need to do it on my own. But as far as the next step, I mean, I kind of even touched base on that with the DMX stuff, just trying to do bigger, better shows, longer duration, tighter timing, more unique effects, or trying to get creative with what you're shooting. I think that's probably where I'm looking for the future. And then down the road, sure, we'll probably eventually start doing 1.3 in our shows.
Great. And what kind of advice would you give to someone that's starting a YouTube channel about fireworks?
Post consistently. And safety. Be safe. Don't show something that is stupid. Ultimately, you're going to cause other people to replicate what you're doing. So if you're doing something unsafe, someone else is going to do that. And personally, I would never do that I try not to do that, because I don't want someone to do something and get hurt, and then I feel like I'd be to blame.
That's great. I again, 100% agree. What's your ideal show length?
Okay, so a lot of people, they brag about how long their show is, and then they might say my show is an hour long, and personally, that's way too long. For consumer fireworks, anything over 20 minutes seems like it's a long time. 15 minutes, in my opinion, is the sweet spot, because there's enough time that you're doing a great show, you're able to draw out emotion with your show, but it's not super long where it gets boring or it gets repetitive where people start to lose interest in your show.
I Again, agree with you fully. Pyro musical or no musical?
Well, pyro musical requires a lot more equipment. That's one thing. If you don't have the equipment, it's going to be really hard to do that. There's the basic show without music. There's a show with music just in the background, so you're shooting over music. It's not really timed to music. However, that is a step you could take. I think it really depends on the person and what their needs are. I mean, I think most of us started out doing fireworks shows not to music, and then as you're progressing, like you asked earlier, one of the next steps is to music, and that requires tighter timing, more precision. So I think it's a personal preference.
And if you were going to give someone advice about getting into their first firing system, assuming it is a Cobra, what would you say? Cobra, I mean, and the question is, obviously you can find less expensive systems, the little boxes that are the something 1,200, whatever, you get 47 boxes for $20 or whatever it is. I don't even know what the price is. What would you say if someone wanted to get into fireworks using a very reputable fireworks firing system?
That's a difficult one. I think make sure to stay within your budget. I feel like a lot of people spring and go for a very expensive system when they don't need to. I personally started with a very cheap system. However, I quickly outgrew it and went to the next step up. So on that note, if you could save enough money to go with that next step at the beginning, I personally think that's the best approach. Cobra firing system is a great option. There's also the Ignite firing system, which is much cheaper and affordable option that still allows you to do a lot of really awesome things. So depending on your budget, I would recommend either one of those. And then of course, do your research. Make sure it's a system that fits your needs and that you want to get into.
When you first used a firing system connected to a product that was fast fused or instantly fused, an igniter, how satisfying, what was the feeling that when you press the fire button and it immediately goes up? What did you get?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm trying to think back. That would have been like 2010, so 11 years ago as of recording this video. Excitement, right? We talk about safety, and using a firing system to be able to be farther away from your fireworks in case something goes wrong is really important. But just the thought of being able to walk 300 feet away and shoot a firework was fascinating. And the first thing I did was run outside and test my distance, and to see something go off instantly was super gratifying. That's
awesome. I had a very similar experience, I would say. It's a very powerful feeling, and it's almost a shocker when it happens. So, what's the favorite video, or what's the video that you have made in the past that you think people should watch on your channel?
That's a great question. Sometimes, unfortunately, some of the videos you create are not your favorite, but you post them because people want to see them. Honestly, I think my favorite video or video series is my show setup videos for the 4th of July. So both last year and this year, I thought this series, it was like a 4 to 5 part series, I thought was probably my favorite because it was educational, but I tried to make it entertaining. And then, you're seeing all the hard work that goes into a fireworks show. A lot of people don't realize how much work goes into creating a 8-minute fireworks show. So I would say the 4th of July fireworks show prep video series.
So, and I would say this, I actually found Joel's video about how to build a mortar rack, and it is one of my favorite videos that you've ever made. Back in 2009, I think it was the only one on YouTube at the time. But I think you guys should check that out. Are you going to make an updated video on that? Are you going to?
I should. I feel like that it still gets a lot of views, and considering the fact it's 10 plus years old, or approximately 10 years old, it could use an update with a few additional tips and tricks.
Gotcha. Joel, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming to Boom in the Sky. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys like this video. I've been wanting to meet Joel. He's one of my pyro, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. He actually inspired me again to start my channel back in 2019. And Joel was already a seasoned veteran by that time. So anyway, guys, thanks again for coming to the channel. Thanks again for visiting Boom in the Sky. If you like this video, of course, smash that like button. Drop a comment down below. Have you ever met Joel? Do you guys use Cobra firing systems? What's your firing system of choice? Or do you hand light? And of course, subscribe. We've got more stuff coming up. I've got a whole bunch more videos here. I'm probably going to put them in a playlist from PGI, my first time in North Dakota, my first time at PGI. So anyway, thanks again for coming to the channel. Thanks again for visiting Boom in the Sky. But like I always say, oh, you failed. Make it beautiful and make it loud. Thanks, guys.